Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. Top of the morning. As you can see, I have a bit of Celtic ancestry myself, although most of my people were from Scotland. But I do have a little Irish in me, and generally speaking, I enjoy St. Patrick's Day. I will probably put up a music video later, after I've done some travel blogging. Because I've missed making music. Our trip to Italy, not so easy to make music when you're on the road. So maybe if I brought my guitar, but I didn't bring my guitar. Anyway, I don't want to talk about St. Patrick's Day, and I don't want to talk about the shit show that's going on. Today I would like to remember a very special family member that we lost 2 years ago. His name was Arran. Arran. He was a beagle mix that we adopted in January 2013 from Triangle Beagle Rescue, or Tri-Beagles. He was our fifth rescue beagle. Before we had our street dogs, Charlie and Noisy, in the States, we would always adopt beagles, or beagle mixes, really. And we had some very interesting mixes. The very first one we had was, I think he was a husky beagle mix, and he had bright blue eyes. And then we had another one that was probably the closest to purebred that we had. He was a hunting beagle named Flea. We didn't change his name. We didn't name him that, but we also didn't change his name because it was just too funny. His name was Flea. And he was covered with them when he was found. And then we had McGregor. And McGregor was a very special beagle basset mix. And we had Zane, who came from Atlanta Beagle Rescue, and I think probably had a little bit of Labrador in him. He was very friendly, and he liked to carry things. Playful, wonderful dog. He was like a light to me.
If you have diabetes and are on Medicare, you qualify for these 5 free cookbooks. Call 1.
And then we had Arran, who was being called CD when we adopted him. He had been returned to the rescue. We picked him up about a month after we lost McGregor. And McGregor was a very special dog. And we were in Scotland when we found out that we were losing him. We thought he had arthritis, but it turned out that he had an aggressive spinal tumor. And when we got back from Scotland, we took him to NC State because we were living in North Carolina. And unfortunately, an MRI confirmed that's what his problem was. And he was in a lot of pain, so about a week before Christmas in 2012, we lost him. And it was devastating. I never thought we would find a dog that would love Bill as much as McGregor did. But a month later, we adopted Arran. And boy, Arran, he loved Bill so much. He loved me too, but he really, really loved Bill. And if you look back through my videos, and I'll actually put a link in the description, you can see the memorial that I made for him. You'll see the love. It was an unusual love. But we lost Arran to, not prostate cancer, that was Flea. We lost him to lymphoma. Both he and Zane had mast cell tumors. Those are very common in dogs, but especially beagles. And They both had problems with mast cell tumors. They both ended up with lymphoma. And when we had when we lost Zane in 2019, he was diagnosed, and then a week later he was gone. We never even had a chance to try treatment with him. Not that we necessarily would have even considered it, because a lot of Americans, you think that it's going to be very expensive, and many people are under the impression that cancer treatment for dogs is unpleasant and not worth doing. But fast forward to fall of 2022, I was petting Arran, and I noticed that he had swollen lymph nodes in his hind legs. And I was like, oh, I kind of knew what was happening. We took him to the vet, and sure enough, he also had lymphoma. But the type he had was not as aggressive as what Zane had. It was still pretty devastating, because after a couple of days, Arran was not able to really, he was just exhausted and didn't want to eat, which for him was really strange. And I was perplexed, because, I don't like to put dogs down unless it's really time. And at that time, Bill was going on a lot of business trips. Like, every week for a while, he was doing a business trip. And I did not want to lose Arran while Bill was away, because they had this very special bond. And so our vet suggested that we try chemo for Arran. And we said, okay. And that may seem crazy. I remember at the time when we were doing this, there were news articles. It happened to be published, I think Washington Post had one, about a woman who went all out for her dog that had cancer and did chemo. And she lived in Northern Virginia, very expensive area, and spent thousands. And I remember the comments that people left for her. They were very hateful. Oh my God, humans can't get health care, but you're spending thousands on a dog. Fortunately, in Germany, healthcare is not that expensive. And it's not that expensive for vet care either. I mean, it is expensive, but it's not like it is in America. And in fact, you can get pet insurance here. We don't actually have it, but insurance is a big deal in Germany. And and it's actually pretty great because it does its job. It's not like you have it's not like it is in the States, where they do everything they can to deny you. But anyway, we decided to try the chemo. And I remember the very first time I took Arran in, my husband was away, and Arran was just exhausted. Took him in, and it was a half hour. And she said, well, see how it works. And you should know, with chemo for dogs, they don't give a lot of medicine. So it's not like they get sick. They don't lose their hair. It's just enough to alleviate some of the symptoms of cancer. Well, the next morning, I mean, I was worried about Arran, but the next morning, he woke up, came downstairs, ate his breakfast, wanted to walk later. And it was like he was back to normal.
Looks like it went okay today.
Yeah.
Hey. There's a crud going around. And my throat.
And my husband was delighted to see it. I shared pictures, and he was so worried about Arran. But Arran was great. He was a trooper. So we continued with this for 5 months, which honestly, at the time, Arran was about 14 when we lost him. I did not expect him to last as long as he did. And really the only reason that we tried the chemo was because I did not want him not to have Bill with him when it was time for him to go. But it turned out to be fairly successful. I mean, it wasn't without its problems. He had to take prednisone, and prednisone made him pee a lot, and it made him hungry. And he would, break into things. Even we put up a gate so that he wouldn't go down into our basement where we keep a lot of food, and he got through that. And however, he was pretty much well. I mean, as well as you can be with lymphoma. He was able to have a pretty normal time. Even able to jump up on the bed, and he ate his food, and we even took him to France one last time, and he knew we'd been to this place several times. He knew exactly where to go, and that was where we celebrated our 20th anniversary in Ribeauvillé, France. But the evening of March 16th, 2023, we were having dinner, and Arran was parked under our table as usual. And he kind of dozed off, and then when he woke up, he wasn't right. There was something not right with him. He was very dazed, and it was almost like he'd had a seizure. And I think what happened was that he had a stroke, which I think with prednisone that can happen. But we took him to bed, and he spent one last night with us, and we took him to the vet, and the vet said, well, he's got more tumors now. And so we said goodbye to him, but he did not want to go. He was a very, very strong dog, had a lot of personality, adored Bill. Did not want to go. But finally he did. And I made him a memorial video. It actually recorded the song I used in the fall because I didn't expect him to be around as long as he was. And I wanted to make the recording before I was too emotional to do it properly. So I was able to put up a memorial video pretty soon after we lost him. And usually when we lose a dog, we pick up a new one quickly because we are big believers in dog rescue. And I like to have dogs around. They keep me active, and frankly, they're good company because I spend a lot of time alone. I didn't want to try to use the German shelters because they generally don't like adopting to Americans. A lot of military people don't take their dogs with them when they leave because it's expensive, or they're going somewhere where the dogs are not allowed, or there are restrictions. We generally, honestly, I can't say that we would never do that because it's not a good thing to say never, but we always prioritize that our dogs are our family. And when we left Germany the first time, we still had our dog Flea, who was our second rescue. Flea had prostate cancer, and we took him to Georgia with us when we moved and had him for 2 more months. He was another one, a lot like Arran, very strong-willed dog. Didn't want to die. It took us a while before we got Arran's successor, and you might have seen him in my videos. His name is Charlie. He is a dog from Kosovo, street dog like Noisy is. Much smaller, very, very charming. And once again, I'm left shocked because I never thought we would find another dog that loved Bill as much as McGregor did or Arran but I think that Charlie does. And if you watch some of our older videos with Charlie in them, you could see. We've had him since July. And he just loves Bill so much. But anyway, I didn't mean for this to be a video about treating canine cancer with chemo. And I understand that in the States it's not always so easy because it's much more expensive there. But what I do want to say is that it can be worthwhile, and that if you ever have a dog that has cancer and you wonder if it's going to make them really sick or it's going to be horrible for them, let me reassure you that that wasn't the case for us. And for us, it was worth doing. And fortunately, in Germany, it doesn't cost as much. And maybe this is a political video for that, because healthcare is too expensive for people and animals in America. But that's just one more problem that we got to solve, isn't it? Anyway, I hope you have a good St. Patrick's Day. I hope you have a good St. Patrick's Day. And perhaps later there'll be a music video. See you then.